Hello, I just thought I'd show you my Minic motorway layout before I decide to revamp it. This is situated up in my loft, and above us we have some of that nice silver bubble wrap. It does a really good job of putting the light back down to the surface. It's unheated up here, it's not a sealed loft, so it relies on keeping warm from the insulation. There's an incoming power supply, and that goes across to a series of plugs. We have the controllers, and we also have a controller for the lighting. Each of the controllers sitting here, they're H&M ones, they power the railways and they power, of course, the Minic motorway. The layout itself actually sits on loft boards on a little frame, so you don't lose any of the storage space that you actually have in the loft. And underneath, of course, it makes it easier to put all your existing wiring. Fair enough, it could be a nip neater, and that's one of the things I've learned. But on a lot of these terminal blocks here, they have the power going in, and they have enough outlets for I think about 12 different lighting systems. As you can see, the layout sits nicely in the loft confines. I can get 7 boards down, and probably with an extension later on 8 or 9. At the moment there's a wardrobe at the far end of the loft. But it does enable me to have a reasonable layout, and it doesn't disrupt the rest of the house. The main line runs right around the outside and underneath the embankment where the cars go at the top, and there's an additional line which runs from here round to the other side, going through a level crossing. The main interactions with the railway is, of course, the bridge. A later addition tacked onto the side was this series of locks. They come in a kit form, and you build one lock, add the next lock, and add the next lock, and it goes up the side to make a little bit of a difference on the layout. I tried to do something slightly different and have a cable car that went up the side here and up onto the top at the back on the fake wall. It's just powered by a motor, a few wheels, a bit of Meccano. It's alright, but it does bounce around a little and may not include it next time. Some of the buildings are the old Minic buildings. This is the chalet with the two lanes going into it and the doors that spring up. The motoring hazard. Of course, fire station. We also have, of course, the Triangle Architects. This is where you can build a block of flats, or in this case 2 blocks of flats with a kit. You have the windows and the internal frame comes in one. They look reasonably effective. Not wishing to spend a fortune, I did a lot of these cardboard kits where you get the kit off the internet. A lot of them are free. You glue them onto card and then you assemble them, and they make reasonable buildings. As we can see, there are a number of them around. Next time I might take a little bit more care in assembling. The track bed is the gravel that you get from a local model shop, and so is the actual grass itself. No special flocking. A little bit is the matting that you can get just to cover over various spots. One of the main advantages of having up in the loft is that you can suddenly simulate night time. Here we can see I've just turned the lights on. And of course, if I turn the main lights out in the loft, we get dark. And it makes it quite effective. And of course, we've also put little lights inside the train, which I can show you later on. But I think it makes it quite a nice thing, something you probably can't do downstairs easily. And here, of course, we can see the carriages inside lit up. Relatively easy to do, very cheap. Just buy the little key and the reed switch, and you just turn it on and off with a magnet. There are many fantastic layouts to see on the internet, and I suggest you have a look at a few for ideas. But this one was built with limited space and limited headroom, which many of us face, unfortunately. And of course, a limited budget. Most of the buildings have been self-assembly. Not spent a fortune on it really, a little bit on the electrics. Probably in all somewhere around about £120, I suppose, for the whole lot before a revamp. So what have I learnt from this? Well, some things need better fixings. So for example here we can see the light, this bit of a tipped over. It's not sitting very stable, so that needs more attention. And the same with the fencing here, needs just a little bit more attention to detail, where things have just started to fall over, where I put the dust cover over the top of it. Also, of course, the rear hill, which I'll show you in a moment, has a little problem for some of the cars. The tyres tend to get very hard and brittle. Even the new PU tyres, the replacement tyres that you can get, I tend to find them a bit slippy. So maybe that long slope up at the back is a difficult one. It wasn't made with a flyover kit, it was made with humpback bridge kits. So there's the bottom of the humpback bridge, and the top one is the actual hump normally. So it's quite steep for the cars to get up and over. The bus finds it pretty impossible to get right over. It just grounds itself because of the height and the steepness of the top curve.